Have you ever felt like God is late? Like you've been waiting so long, watching doors close, feeling stuck? But let me tell you something. God's timing isn't slow. It's strategic. Every closed door, every delay, every disappointment was Him preparing something greater than you could imagine. Today, your waiting ends because what He's been preparing is bigger, better, and more powerful than your impatience ever allowed you to see. Waiting. It's one of the hardest places to be, isn't it? You look at your life and feel like everyone else is moving ahead. Doors are opening for them. Opportunities are landing in their lap. And there you are, stuck, feeling like God is slow, like He's forgotten you. But here's the truth. Waiting does not mean delaying. There's a difference, a massive difference. Waiting is not the absence of progress. It's a season of unseen, quiet preparation. While your eyes see stagnation, God's eyes see strategy. What feels like stillness is actually a workshop for your soul, a place where He's shaping, refining, and equipping you for the purpose that only He can orchestrate. Think about the seed. A seed doesn't grow the moment you plant it. You bury it, water it, and wait. You can't see the roots pushing down or the tiny sprout finding its way up. But underground, there's activity. There's growth happening that is unseen. And when the time comes, it bursts through the soil in perfect timing. That seed doesn't grow too fast. It doesn't grow too slow. It grows exactly when it's ready. God's timing works the same way. Your waiting is not a punishment. It's a preparation. It's Him working in ways you cannot perceive, building strength, patience, resilience, and faith within you. Sometimes waiting feels lonely. You cry out, God, why haven't you done it yet? And the silence can feel deafening. But remember, silence does not equal absence. He is present, orchestrating circumstances, aligning people, and arranging blessings in ways your limited vision cannot comprehend. The waiting period is where you learn to trust Him, not just for the outcome, but for the process itself. Trust becomes your lifeline, faith becomes your anchor, and hope becomes your companion. It's in this space that your character is forged and your spirit is stretched to handle what is coming. Many people miss the beauty of preparation because they want immediate results. They see delay and assume failure. But God's work is never rushed. Every lesson, every challenge, every closed door is intentional. It's like a tailor sewing a custom garment for you. You wouldn't want it rushed, cut corners, or stitched hastily. You want perfection, something that fits you in every way. God is tailoring your life, your purpose, your breakthrough. Waiting is the fitting room where He ensures that when the moment comes, you are ready to step into it without compromising your destiny. So in the waiting, don't measure your life by what you see. Don't count the hours, the setbacks, or the delays. Instead, measure it by your growth, your faith, and your readiness. God is preparing you for the exact moment where what He has for you exceeds everything you imagined. That waiting, that season of patience is the secret to your breakthrough. What feels slow is not slow at all. It is precise, deliberate, and intentional. When you finally see what He has been preparing, you'll understand why it couldn't have happened any earlier or in any other way. So embrace the waiting. Trust the invisible work. Know that your season is active even when it feels inactive. God is not late. He is perfectly on time. And when the moment arrives, you will stand in awe of the masterpiece He has been crafting through every moment of patience, every tear, and every whispered prayer. Your waiting is not wasted. It is the workshop where your destiny is being prepared. Every closed door, every no, every disappointment in your life has a purpose. It's easy to look at setbacks and feel defeated, to think that God has forgotten you or that your dreams are slipping away. But here's the truth. Preparation comes before promotion. God is always equipping you for the next level before He elevates you to it. He's not interested in rushing your breakthrough because He knows that without preparation, you won't be able to handle the blessing He's designed for you. Every challenge, every season of waiting, every moment of struggle is Him intentionally building the strength, wisdom, and character you will need to thrive in what's coming. Think about a warrior going into battle. No general would send a soldier to the front lines without training, without weapons, without strategy. That would be reckless, and the soldier would be unprepared to face what's ahead. God is like that divine general. He sees the battlefield of your life and knows exactly what skills, what patience, what discernment you need to survive and succeed. When you feel like the struggle is too much, when you feel like you're constantly failing or being overlooked, know this: He is training you. Every closed door, every delay, every hardship is part of your boot camp for the life He's preparing. Many people look at others who seem to be rising quickly and feel jealous or discouraged, but you can't compare your journey to anyone else's. Someone else's door opening doesn't mean yours is closed forever. It just means your preparation is different. Your timeline is unique. God knows that if He promoted you too early, without preparation, you might falter. But in the meantime, He is equipping you with unseen skills, resilience, patience, faith, and insight that will make your promotion not only possible, but sustainable. The delay isn't denial, it's refinement. Preparation isn't always glamorous. It's in the quiet moments when no one is watching that your character is being shaped. It's in the failures that teach you humility. It's in the trials that teach you perseverance. It's in the lonely nights when you cry out to God and He whispers back, reminding you that He is working. These moments may feel insignificant, even frustrating, but they are the very foundation for the future God is designing for you. Think of it like a sculptor shaping a masterpiece. Every chip, every curve, every adjustment is intentional. When the sculpture is finished, all those small, precise movements will make perfect sense. The key is to trust the process. Don't despise the season of preparation because it doesn't look like promotion. Don't let impatience steal your faith. God is orchestrating everything with precision. What you are learning, what you are enduring, what you are being stretched through, all of it is necessary. The doors that seem closed today are part of a bigger plan to open you to the right doors tomorrow. The pain and discomfort you experience now are temporary, but the lessons and strength you gain are eternal. So lean into preparation. Be intentional about growth. Stay faithful in the waiting. Know that God's promotion is not random. It is carefully timed and designed for your maximum impact. And when the doors finally open, you won't just walk through them. You'll stride confidently, equipped and ready to thrive because of all that He has prepared in you. Your readiness will match your reward, and your promotion will reflect the careful work God has been doing behind the scenes all along. Faith over frustration. That phrase may sound simple, but it's one of the hardest disciplines to practice in life, because let's be honest, waiting is frustrating. You pray, you work, you give your best, and still nothing seems to happen. The doors remain closed, the breakthrough seems delayed, and the world moves on without you. In those moments, it's so easy to give in to disappointment, bitterness, or doubt. But this is exactly where God is calling you to choose faith over frustration. Faith is not passive. It's an active decision to trust God's process even when your circumstances scream otherwise. Frustration is the enemy of vision. It clouds your judgment, shortens your patience, and tempts you to settle for less than God's best. When frustration takes root, it can make you question your purpose, question your prayers, and question God Himself. But faith, real faith, anchors you to something greater than your present feelings. Faith reminds you that God is not late, that He has a plan, and that He is still at work even when you can't see it. It's faith that keeps you moving forward when the path is unclear, faith that sustains you when the waiting feels endless, and faith that ultimately leads you into the very thing God has been preparing. Think about Abraham. He waited decades for the promise of a child. Every year that passed could have been another reason for frustration. He could have questioned God, tried to take matters into his own hands, or given up entirely. But Abraham chose faith over frustration. He believed the promise even when it seemed impossible. And because he held on to faith, God's timing came perfectly, and the promise was fulfilled beyond what he could have imagined. This is the blueprint for every believer. Choosing faith even when your emotions want to rebel against delay, even when your mind tells you it's never going to happen. Faith over frustration also requires perspective. You have to remind yourself that God's work is not measured by human timing or human understanding. What feels slow today may be exactly the preparation you need for tomorrow. Each trial, each closed door, each setback is a tool God is using to strengthen your faith muscles. Frustration tells you to quit, to compromise, to settle. Faith tells you to trust, to endure, and to wait for the right moment. The difference between success and disappointment often comes down to which one you feed. If you feed frustration, you'll find yourself exhausted, bitter, and stuck. If you feed faith, you'll find yourself growing, learning, and moving closer to the fulfillment of God's promise. And here's the beauty. Faith has a ripple effect. When you choose faith over frustration, you not only position yourself for God's blessings, but you also inspire those around you. People will see your trust, your patience, your unwavering hope, and they will be encouraged to trust as well. Your faith becomes a testimony of God's faithfulness in the midst of delay. It proves that God's timing is perfect, even when the clock in your heart says otherwise. So when you feel the weight of waiting, when frustration starts to creep in, make a conscious choice. Choose faith. Trust the invisible work God is doing behind the scenes. Lean into his promises. Hold on to hope even when everything inside you screams, enough is enough. Faith over frustration is not a denial of reality. It's a declaration of trust. And when you practice it, when you live it daily, you will find that what once felt like delay transforms into divine preparation. And what once seemed like frustration becomes the very foundation for your breakthrough. Timing. It's something we all wrestle with, isn't it? We set our schedules, we plan our steps, and we map out our dreams. But God's timing, it doesn't follow our calendars, our agendas, or our expectations. That's why timing over timing anxiety is so crucial. So often we get anxious because we see opportunities opening for others, or we feel like our season is dragging. We panic when things don't happen on time according to our watch. But here's the truth. God's timing is perfect. His clock is not broken, and his delays are not denials. They are divine alignments that prepare you for what's coming. And impatience can never unlock what patience and trust will. When you're impatient, it clouds your perspective. You start rushing decisions, settling for less, or forcing outcomes that are not yet meant for you. Timing anxiety is the enemy of destiny. It whispers lies that you are too late, that God has forgotten you, or that someone else's success diminishes yours. But God's timing is never a competition. He doesn't measure your life by someone else's path. Each season, each trial, each delay is carefully orchestrated to align with the exact moment you need the breakthrough, the opportunity, or the blessing. Think of Joseph in the Bible. He spent years in a pit, then in slavery, then in prison before he was elevated to power in Egypt. From a human perspective, his timing seemed tragic, unjust, and painfully slow. He could have given up, questioned God, or grown bitter. But God's timing was not based on Joseph's impatience. It was based on preparation, on readiness, and on the perfect moment when Pharaoh's need met Joseph's preparation. The result, not just a personal victory, but the salvation of nations. This is why trusting God's timing is essential. It's never too early, never too late. It's just right. Impatience often makes us act before we are ready, speak before we are wise, or commit before we are equipped. But timing anxiety can be replaced with timing faith. Instead of asking, why hasn't it happened yet? You ask, what is God doing in me while I wait? Instead of rushing to create opportunities, you lean into the lessons, the growth, and the preparation he is giving you. Every delay is intentional. Every closed door is a redirection. Every season of waiting is a workshop for your faith, character, and vision. Timing is also about alignment. The right opportunity at the wrong moment can be disastrous. God's timing ensures that when your moment comes, everything is in place. Your skills, your strength, your faith, your network, and your circumstances. You don't just step into your season. You step into it fully equipped, fully confident, and fully prepared to handle the blessing without compromise. That's the power of divine timing. It protects you, positions you, and elevates you when you are truly ready. So let go of your anxiety about timing. Stop measuring your life by the speed of others, the clock on the wall, or the pressure of your circumstances. Trust that God's timing is intentional, precise, and perfect. Learn to live in the now, to grow in patience, and to embrace the lessons of the waiting period. What feels like delay is actually divine design, and what seems like slowness is actually strategic preparation. When you finally step into the moment he has prepared, you'll see why it couldn't have happened any sooner, and you'll understand that his timing is far more reliable than your own. Your breakthrough is not late, it's on time. God's timing is always right, and when you learn to trust it fully, you'll experience the peace, the confidence, and the success that impatience could never deliver. The reveal, that moment when everything finally makes sense, when all the waiting, all the praying, all the setbacks, and all the unanswered questions suddenly come together in a way that leaves you in awe of God's plan. The truth is, the reveal is always worth the wait. It's the culmination of every season you've endured, every lesson you've learned, every tear you've shed, and every moment you felt like giving up. God doesn't waste time. He doesn't waste pain. He doesn't waste prayers. And when the reveal comes, it's always greater than you imagined, bigger than you planned, and more perfect than anything you could have orchestrated on your own. Many people struggle with waiting because they focus on the present struggle instead of the future reveal. They see closed doors and delays, and they think God is silent or absent, but what they fail to realize is that every moment of waiting is preparation for a moment of revelation. God is not rushing, He's orchestrating, He's aligning people, circumstances, and opportunities in a way that you cannot see. What feels like delay is actually divine positioning, placing everything exactly where it needs to be, so that when the time comes, your breakthrough will be undeniable. Think about the story of Esther. For years, she lived in obscurity, seemingly powerless and forgotten in the palace. She could have questioned why God's hand seemed hidden, why she wasn't elevated sooner, or why the opportunity to save her people hadn't yet come. But God was at work behind the scenes, orchestrating events, placing her in the right position, and preparing her for a moment of revelation that would change history. When the time came, she stepped into her destiny, and the reveal of God's plan was undeniable. The delay was not denial. It was preparation for a moment of impact that could not have happened any sooner. The reveal is also a moment of clarity. Suddenly, the struggles make sense, the losses feel purposeful, and the waiting feels intentional. You begin to see how God was shaping your character, teaching you patience, building your faith, and equipping you with the tools you needed for this exact moment. Every hardship, every disappointment, and every closed door was a stepping stone to this divine unveiling. The pain you endured wasn't wasted. It was refining you, positioning you, and readying you for what only God could give. Many people miss the reveal because they give up too soon. They abandon faith, settle for less, or try to force outcomes. But God's timing and His preparation are perfect. When the reveal comes, it is not just a reward, it is a validation of faith. It is the moment where you realize that every tear, every prayer, and every trial was a necessary part of the story He was writing in your life. The beauty of the reveal is that it demonstrates God's faithfulness in a way that is unmistakable. It is a testimony not just for you, but for everyone around you, showing that waiting, trust, and obedience always yield fruit in God's perfect time. So hold on. Do not despise the waiting. Do not grow weary in the process. Trust that God is preparing a reveal that exceeds your imagination. The moment is coming when all the pieces fit together, when every struggle becomes a stepping stone, when every delay becomes a divine setup, and when you finally see the masterpiece He has been crafting. The reveal is worth the wait because it is God's signature on your story, a moment that proves that His timing, His preparation, and His promises are always perfect. And when it happens, you will look back and realize that the waiting was not wasted, the struggles were not meaningless, and the preparation was necessary for the extraordinary life that God had prepared for you all along.